Hi guys, I'm Bonnie and today I'm going to talk about my practical driving experience and how I passed my test first time. So I did my test on the 2nd of August 2017 and I did it at about 10:14. So I'm just going to talk about my experience and my tips and how I went about passing my test. So don't mind if I look down, I've got my notes because I can't remember it all. So I'm going to give you a bit of a background towards my driving and my experience I've had before. So in my family we've only got one car and it's an automatic car, so I've never really had a chance to practice on anything apart from the car that my driving instructor had, which was some Kia 2017 version. So a bit of background, I had about 38 lessons. I did 32 with my driving instructor that I have in London. And then I did 6 in Wales, going up hills and stuff. I started learning on the 31st of January, so I did about 6 months of driving lessons. When I got in the car for the first time, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never sat in a driver's seat before. No one had shown me the gears or anything like that. So, or the accelerator, the clutch. I thought the clutch was the accelerator. I was so confused. I was stalling all of the time. So I went from knowing nothing about cars to passing first time. So yeah, I didn't own my own car. I'm getting a new a car this weekend, but that's because I've passed. But I didn't have one to learn on, so I had to go in a couple of my friends' cars and some family members' cars, but it was short periods of time, and it was in industrial estates and off the road. I never did any on the road driving with friends and family. And then the last bit of introduction, I guess, is that I had about 1 lesson a week, but as I came up to the test, I was doing 2-3 lessons, and then on the week of my test I did a 2-hour on the Monday, 2-hour on the Tuesday, hour and a half before my real exam, and then I had my test. So that's overall an introduction, I guess, to my driving over the last 6 months. So I'll tell you now about the date of my test and how it went down. So I've just moved house recently, so I did it back where I used to live, so I had to wake up really early in the morning and get to where I used to live, and I went for a McDonald's breakfast and waited around, and at 5 to 9 my driving instructor picked me up and we drove around the roads. I'd never done a practice test or a mock test for my driving, so we were just driving around the roads that I'd potentially get my test done on. So we did lots of that, and the thing is, the minute I got in the car I managed to do a fault, give myself a major. I'd driven into a bus lane and I was God, if I do that in my actual test I'm fucked basically. So we were driving around for an hour and a half and made a load of mistakes, forgot to check my blind spot so many times. So it wasn't to the best of starts. So we drove up to the test centre, parked up, my driving instructor gave me my key, she gave me the key, shoved it in my bag, went to toilet, came back from the toilet, couldn't find the key for the car. So I was stressing out that I'd lost the key for the car, which if you know me, I'm constantly losing my phone and my Oyster card and my money, so it's a bit embarrassing, and I was freaking out, but I managed to find it. So I got in the car, so then I was sitting down talking to my instructor, and the guy came out who was going to be testing me, and he's Miss Bonnie Peacock? So I was yes, that's me. He was I need you to sign this. He was an old man. He looked he needs to retire soon. He was the moodiest and rudest man I've ever met in my whole life. So I got in the car and he was so we did the show me tell me questions. So had to open up the bonnet and show him where the cooler was, which was easy peasy. Show where minimum, maximum, and easy. And then got in the car and he asked me to tell him about the tyres and how do you know if they're safe. So obviously it's 1.6mm, you use it with a tyre gauge or whatever they're called. Anyway, he told me practically to shut up because I was talking a bit too much. Got in the car, drove off, turned left, did my test, did the independent driving, went on the motorway, it was all fine. Got back to the test centre. I was the last person to get back to the test centre, and I was like trying to straighten up the car and he screamed at me to stop, and I was like, well, okay. And he goes, so he asked if I wanted my instructor in the car when I got the advice and, you know, everything, but I was just like, nah, I just want to know. So he was like, you've passed, but you didn't drive particularly well. I got 9 minors on my test, so, and they were all because I was going a bit too slow. Thing is, like, when I've been out with my driving instructor, apparently I've been too fast, but I was like, during my test, I was just like, I just want to go slowly, like I don't want to rush anything, because I know I'd probably end up stalling or something if like I was not in control properly of the car. So he was just quite rude to me. He was like, you spent too long looking at the mirrors as you were driving off, and it's just the way he spoke to me. It wasn't, I was happy with like the criticism, but it was just like the way he said it. So I felt like crying the way he spoke to me, but it was fine because he passed me, came out with 9 minors. Yeah, it was just about speed, and I mean, I was 1 for like steering. I probably like did something slightly wrong with the wheel, but nothing major. There was no issues. It was a really calm test. Came out, got my license. So it was a good experience. Independent driving was absolutely fine because I'd done the roads just before. So when he told me to go to this place called Staines, I'd already like done that like an hour before. So it was quite easy, very chilled. I just tried to stay calm, looking in the mirrors all the time, just acted like I knew what I was doing. Fake it till you make it. So now I'm going to go through my tips for you guys on like how to pass first time. So I've got about 8 tips on like how to pass first time, like just things that I've come up with that I think might be useful for you. So my first tip is listen to your driving instructor. So every lesson I had, my driving instructor would write down notes of like what I needed to improve on. So if I was approaching junctions too quickly, forgetting my blind spot, all these things, really critical, but like I kept on taking them on board. Just take on board what your driving instructor says, because they know what they're on about. My driving instructor was so critical, but it was so useful in the end. Like the whole time I was in the car, in the back of my head was all the things that my driving instructor was saying. Just like remember what they say. They know what they're on about. They want you to pass, so just listen to what they say. So that's like my first like main tip. Like try not to like take advice from other people. I know you're taking advice from me right now, but you know, main point of action should be driving instructor, because they know all the rules and regulations. Number 2, I think this is really important. Just check your mirrors every 3 seconds. The whole test I was like left mirror, back mirror, side mirror. Kept on looking at them. Looked at them more than I did than the actual front of the road. Just make out that you're so aware of what's going on. Just be really aware of like people like about to cross traffic lights. Has someone just pressed like the traffic light? That means like you probably want to slow down. You know, just be really aware of your surroundings, because the awareness is what they mostly mark you on if you've like seen one of the test papers. My 3rd tip is watch YouTube videos before you start, you know, before you go for your test. The night before I spent a few hours just watching videos of driving instructors just talking about all their tips, about how to stay calm in the test, you know, stuff that you probably haven't been told. Went through loads of the show me tell me questions. Like my driving instructor, she sent me like the government website of the show me tell me questions, but yeah, reading it, but like when you're showing it, it's a visual thing when you're showing your driving instructor, the person marking you. So I just watched the videos and I found them really useful, helped me to like consolidate the knowledge I already knew, and just feel a bit more confident, and watch other people's experiences and like where they went wrong. Yeah, just YouTube videos in general. I'll link like the most useful ones I found like down below, because honestly like without them I don't think I would have passed. Yeah, and also like on top of that, yeah, do talk to your friends and see what like how they passed and any tips they had. Most of the tips I got were check your mirrors every few seconds, just go at sensible speed. Yeah. So my 4th tip kind of follows on from what I just said. Is to learn the show me tell me questions, because if you don't get them right, that's 2 minors. It's like 20 questions, they're easy. you know, it just takes like, what, 20 minutes, half hour to learn them, and it means that you can get 15 minors on your test rather than just 13 if you don't learn them. And they're not difficult, like they're quite easy, especially if you've watched videos on them, read it. Like it literally just took me half hour the night before, so it should be a problem. Then on the day, have a big breakfast, just eat. Like I had the worst butterflies, but I forced myself to eat. I went from McDonald's breakfast, got pancakes, got hash brown, had a coffee, had some fruit pastels, I got some like sugar in my body. It's just like because if you're nervous, you're going to be eating up energy in your body, and you just want to like, you want to be calm on your test. You don't want to be worrying that you're hungry and stuff. So just eat, like even if you don't feel like it, like that's probably like, and also just like keep your mind like on the ball. Have a bit of coffee, have a bit of sugar in your body, and you should be fine. And then, okay, my 6th tip is check your blind spot. So many times when I was driving about my driving instructor, like you notice you're about to go off, it's just like you look in all the mirrors, you forget your blind spot. You keep on forgetting that, becomes a major. So just keep checking the blind spot when you're changing lanes on like the motorway or whatever dual carriageway you're using. You know, before you flick on the indicator, check your blind spot. Just make sure there's nothing next to you. Just make it obvious that you're checking it. And then another one is my 7th tip is just don't panic if you go wrong. Like I was on a roundabout and it was a bit confusing. You told me to go left and I kind of just like went left, and I was like, I went to go around the roundabout and I just stopped in the middle of the roundabout. But you know, I stayed calm. I was just like, oh, where did you say? Went back around the roundabout. You know, before I went off, when I stopped on the roundabout, made sure to check all my mirrors first and went off. I was lucky, like there was no one on the roundabout at the time. But you know, just stay calm if you go wrong. Driving instructor, they're used to people going wrong all the time. You know, the person testing you, just stay calm, take a few breaths. If you're in doubt, just pull your clutch up, your handbrake up, put your car into neutral. You know, just stay safe and just think it through, because if you rush things you'll end up stalling, etc, etc. So just stay calm, you know, keep calm and carry on. And then the last tip I give you is, I was watching this video and the guy was like going on about like the way instructors and the people marking you like go about it, and they do it in this fashion, like in this order. So it's mirrors, signal, position, speed, gears, and then look. So that's like the way they look at the way you're driving. So start with the mirrors first every time. If you stick on your signal next, like first, you're going to be it's an issue, it's a minor. So start with your mirrors. Once mirrors are done, signal, and then position. So which lane are you in? You're going to be in the left lane, the right lane, you need to go all the way around the roundabout. You know, just think that through. Then your speed, is it appropriate? So when you go up to a roundabout, usually I'm in gear 2, going about what, like between 15 and 20 miles an hour, you know, etc. Just like think about the appropriate speed. And then obviously my driving instructor always used to say gears are to go. So, you know, try and stay in the gear that you're in until you absolutely have to change, because they're not that important. Like you can drive at like 20 miles an hour in gear 6, it's not that deep. And then once you've got your gear sorted, like for the appropriate speed, then say if you're in a junction, just keep looking. So you want to go left, right, left if you're going left or whatever. Just, you know, that's a minimum. So you check 3 times, but you just want to keep on checking. Just keep on making out that you're looking everywhere, mirrors, etc. But those are all my tips. So obviously, like, good luck for your test when you've got it. I just stay calm. I think at the end of the day, I'm sure a lot of people have said this to you, but it's mostly luck. I was lucky the roads weren't busy, it wasn't raining, it was quite calm. The person testing me was a dickhead, but yeah, it was a pretty good experience. If you've got any questions or anything, just like shove it in the comment section. Otherwise, Thanks for watching.